Okay, ochamegei bikyok chebo kalenjin en tugul ole omiten. Inoni ko betut age nekakituye kokeny en soet asikobit kinetkei en emet. En betutab raini keng'ololen akobo betut nenin nebo otisiet. Kingen kele kong'eten kotoigei sobetab chito anan ng'wony ko kikobit kanetisiosiek chechang kot missing akobo betutab otisiet. Miten kanetisiet nebo science ako miten kora kanetisiet nebo dini. Ko ngemwa dini nguni komiten dinisiek cheu Uislamu, Ukristo, Hindu ak alak chechang. Akomi kora ole kikiyoito otisiet en olikinye kotomo koit chumbek. En betutab raini kemiten koboto Daktari Kibet Soi ne inendet ko agenge en kipng'omotinik chebo kalenjin ako sirindetab kitabusiek ako inendet ko kemi kibagenge komiten olimbo America. Kimiten kora koboto Kiplagat Mutai ne inendet kora ko kanetindet nebo physics ako inendet kora ko kayonindet anan kristianindet ne en betutab raini kong'ololwech inendet koarorwech akobo eleyondoo biikab Sabato. En batayan kokamwon akobo Dr. Kibet Soi ko inendet ko arorwech missing akobo oleyondoo biikab science akobo betutab otisiet. Kora ketindoi Professor Murray ne inendet ko kipng'omotiotab kalenjin, sirindetab kitabusiek chechang kot missing ako inendet kora ko theologist, PhD holder nebo theology. Agere ko kelchin neo kot missing ketindoi inendet en betutab raini en studio. So kotomo atach icheket kobwa oliep studio sikobit oker, amoche korok aibwok ng'oliot nebo komonut ne kotinygei ak betutab raini, noton ko amwon kole kibun tetutioni en kibagenge ak TOCOMS. TOCOMS ko application neimukteun ibirte simoit kot imiten emetab sang anan imiten emetab Kenya, ibiru konyo Africa anan ibirte kowek emetab sang en oliet nemi ng'weny kot missing. So kinyoru ng'oliondonito yeiboitoito kebwan studio. Okay, so kui kamwowok ketindo en studio Daktari Kibet Soi ako nini Kiplagat Arap Mutai akine ne mongen ale mi komosta ainon en emetab Kenya lakini konomwochi inendet en nguni. Ko kinomen Daktari Arap Soi, tos ne kakuyeng'ung akobo betutab otisiet koi scientist akoi kipng'omotiotab kalenjin olengendoite?
Kongoi missing Arap Koech. I'm not really a scientist, I'm an accountant. But what I've done I hear an echo. Real bad echo.
Okay, Daktari komenyon ing'ala mi echo newekse ko Bwana Mutai Arap Langat, ndamukoksei i-muten in your microphone lo meng'ololi simanam kit nekose.
Sawa.
Kwanibuch kokakoit Professor Arap Murray en nguni amoche komwowech Daktari Kibet Arap Soi asikobit kebwan Arap Mutai ak kebwan Professor Murray. Karibu, okay. Dr. Soi.
Yes, Kongoi, I think it was it was one of the phone lines was unmuted, but it's good now. We can go. I mean, in accounting, I've got a doctorate in accounting and teach in accounting, and also I'm a supervisor in accounting. But what I've done through the years, Kukia, to dig into history, and while digging into history, it took me in the line of science. So out of it, I came out more like a scientist who applies history on science. And out of it, I made conclusions that Mawendigan is a Sunday, and Mawendigan is a Saturday. Out of history and out of applying scientific discoveries, it just got me to a point where I couldn't go to Magogi Goshine Akita Wendigan is a Saturday, Magogi Goshine Akita Wendi Sunday.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at. Of course, you've said Lamis Aigo, United States, and this is where I'm stationed temporarily, but Abunu Nyumbani. But to answer your question, it's just that I guess you were asking betut nebasaet ko ngiro ko enganego. I don't have a specific date. I don't have a date. Mongan, you may majadeski again, Arap Koech?
Okay. Maybe for now, ko muche ko kimuche kemetenen yon, lakini amache temwawech kot missing akobo ele kuyoitoi inyendet. Angen ale en inye ko kemwa ile kele inye ko mewendi kanisa, which means moyonchindosi ak any of the persons che worshipeni either on Friday, Saturday anan ko Sunday. Ko takebwone nyeimwowen amun miten some parts chekwokeren en kitabut nongisir The Immortal Knowledge neimutwon konyo maswali choteben en betutab rani. Ko kotomo akonin, kotomo kebe in details, amache akochi Arap Mutai akine komwawech ele kerto akine ak amune siko koyoni inendet kole ana amune sikwendi kanisa Jumamos nekata Jumambili anan ko nekamatawendi kou yo mewendi inyendet. Mutai, ikoson komye? Agere sungukani network nebo Mutai. Maybe olon testai kochenge network. Professor Murray, karibu. Ndandan imi uritiet non kilen kinome kimaketiet serut. Amune si en kakuyeng'ung kotos amune sige konyolu kewashipeni en Sunday ana amune si iwendi kanisa Sunday inyendet? Professor Murray.
He is on mute. He needs to unmute his mic.
Okay. Uon mute microphone nenyinet. I'm unable to unmute him. You are also muted.
He needs to unmute his phone or his computer.
Okay. But all the same, let me look at how I can reach him. Asikobit alenji ya Costa unmute. En kitabu ngung koko isir ile imwa ile angen ale le bitunen confusion okot missing ko from the word go en atindonotab creation. Ko en inye imwa ile len ki originate ni kou ye mwaito science ko ki evolve ni chito. That is over, according to many books chikirasoman koboto nengunget komwa kole over million or billion years ago ko ki evolve en biik kobwa en species cheterter kotar koit yu kimi nguni. Another thing ko um, ki-originate ni ngwony and the Big Bang Theory according to science ak theories alak. Ko the Big Bang Theory kotoku kikoi kosubet biik chechang kot missing cheboten akinye kosubkei ak ele kisirta en kitabut. Now ko no matter the case okot amun toku kora kole both in this case Christianity ak science ko mamwawech the real origin nebo ele kibunu chito. Amun science komwoe kole kievolveni chito but kotomo koevolven ko ki-originaten kiinamen ano kotor koek chito sikonam kotor koek a species sikonam koevolven any ak eventually koek chito nekergei ak ane akinye en nguni. Now koboru kole akoi komiten ele kinamda amun moe kou ine kikuyo kot missing but so ngap komi kiyoto kiyoe kotor kobit the being ne chito ne ane akinye ko akere ane kodeserveni honor nenyolu keworshipeni kou ni kiworshipeni ngunon biikab kanisa na chebo Islam koworshipeni the creator. Now for you ngunon ko mebelieveni in any of the deities to me but ayani ale there must be a real origin kotom koit yombo evolution. Ko mbekere konyolu kodeserveni keworshipen.
Well, thank you for your question. Gero, to some degree, you're right, but along the way, evolution.
Daktari?
You can hear me? You got
Yes, Karagasin.
Okay, my connection was okay, but come on, evolution, of course, is a theory, and of course, before you arrive at a theory, you start with an hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
And an hypothesis, an idea that you put forward that this is how we came about. And through years, scholars come in and test your hypothesis. Ketesteni until it's actually a proven fact. So that hypothesis now becomes a theory. That theory evolution. As it is right now, you explain the Big Bang. Big Bang is not like we were. Big Bang where everything started. Big Bang is a balloon that just busted. Balloon is. Many people think that the Big Bang was there was a build-up to a point the balloon busted, and when it busted, this msunguko negemite in this universe, and this is why we can see using mukiro that the stars and the cosmos is expanding. Agetesten ginegure background microwave. If right now when we test the unseen air, we can see that there is a background microwave which originated from that Big Bang. Now, beyond Big Bang, magingen. Now, after the Big Bang, you jump to evolution, you would check abiogenesis. Abiogenesis everything, where we're talking about bacteria. Because Gango beat this Big Bang explosion, it was just gases. And when you mix today, you mix in hydrogen, oxygen, you get water. And at that time, things started building up from bacteria billions of years back. And then bacteria found ways to adapt to adopt. Before you know it, we are fishes. Before you know it, we evolve. A fish jumps out of the ocean and finds ways to survive on the, again, like, sand. Then this is how you develop keliek, again, keliek kibatak kibalet. Now, now when you go back a little bit, you notice that at some point we were not walking upright. And through time, we slowly started walking upright. You get it? So all that, in a very summarized fashion, it shows that we were once having the same ancestor. The same tree, and then everybody branch out. And all these things have been tested to include Kakapsa, Kenya, Utayu, Tanzania, Uganda. We found bones that dates millions of years old. You got these Homo erectus, Homo habilis, to a point now we're in Homo sapiens. You cannot nilen amo Cristo. Cristo sai the earth is about 10,000 years old. So now, when we get okay, a bone which is millions of years old in Africa. If we can find bones that are as old as that, where do you come in as a Christian and say the earth is 10,000 years old? We know the earth is 4.5 billion years old. We know that based on science. So, and the way the earth formed is a star died. So again, that Big Bang caused so many stars, and through millions of years, some of those stars died. And go met the star, you die to bring forth a kid.
Yes,
So,
yes, Dr. Soi.
Okay.
Kebet enu yang patay kiten ko lasami ni wege patay kidogo after the Big Bang theory kongo ko tiol gole. That is when you started but now you are very okay. Kindly.
Really? No, are you sure it's me?
No,
What's
that
going
was
on?
my side, but actually.
Okay, all right. So, can't explain it so much, but I can go back one more time. But in a summarized fashion, evolution is not. It's like you kita naganget kimbo agole kwa buat chikuni. That's just a thought. Evolution ko kinigige testen. Aga ngalale ole ulega pun evolution olege megane makosa kita unenye evolution fast forward agile uyo kita nelen a Christian akin nelen believe in evolution go gerge magerge amuge taune evolution ke utie ginigure abiogenesis that comes before evolution. See, that's why I explained when we had the Big Bang, everything, it was gases only. Gases galigure nengin gutit. Koristo. So when it bursted, it was fire. And then gases settled. When it settled, co-forming stars. When the stars died, co-forming planets. Some planets formed water. And we lagi bitu nebeg kuyota lita go bit to bacteria, where now you have abiogenesis. Abiogenesis ko de ulegita unege maisha in bacterial or viral form. And then adaptation goes up adaptation go away in gimotano. Right now, survival, you have to get survival in this planet. ngonyogu coronavirus, we have to find ways to survive. If you have to wear a mask, we have to look for medicine. Same case back then during the abiogenesis moment, the bacterial tried to survive. And then some found themselves in the bare land, which is why wanyama, as you hear people saying we were fishes before, before. It's not a story, but it's something that it's been tested, that we've evolved. You get it? Uwe angu no giro jita nelel, ilen kulen jita mukristo gigichop jita nelel go not. Apana? Kigo jita negio tebe o lakai tete? Ko tebe go nyege go. Anaka kwa inside the house too long. And when you stay too long, your skin doesn't need protection from the sun anymore. I adaptan ibiegu jita nelel, yegu bilel. Ko jita nemi Africa. Ni every day kumi assista go kajar angurokta inyuru assista lagi makte. Ko jijo to inyuru assista ko to ite skin amune tiemme muita in porto. Ko tengan ge assista because assista mu go belen. It can give you cancer. So which is why we have melanin. Ki gato itni ko a way for us to protect ourselves from the sun. Because we live in an area na lalang. Ko jita ne lel ko minye guri na kaitit. Ko gi ko te biji jota ko nget porta ko adaptan. Which is why kingolal evolution, evolution is a way of adaptation. You get it? So magui compare origin of species or origin of life to the belief that a people were created. Amu Christo go believe in the earth was created 10,000 years ago. You cannot say the earth was created 10,000 years ago. At the same time, you're saying you agree that gigenyurgawik or bones in East Africa that are dated millions of years ago. So that's something nechita nemu imu Christo we are like scientists. If you disagree with scientists, then go get your Nobel Prize by showing scientists are wrong. Actually, Baringo, giginyur in bonds. Baringo, forget you to be a guretap jitap kutit. Giginyur bonds that are millions of years old. So here is what happens. Somewhere during our evolution time, we started having big brain. When you have big brain, you start thinking bigger. Around the time when we started writing is when people started writing stories of possibly what happened. Ourselves as what Christos and who is religious. Our philosophy on the initial writing. But we are forgetting that we evolved by the time we are doing the initial writing. Go in your Bible today, and you feel so emboldened. And again, as kapsa kitabun in Netilil, lakin maywe gango tibiro kinegisir Egyptians, thousands of years before in your Bible. And I'll stop there for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Bwana Mutai Arab langa. Amune siku nyalu kebendi kanisa Jumamos. Kosipke kanetishetab Sabato. Yes.
Kongoi missing Arap Koech.
Arap Koech, yes.
Arap Koech, I mean. Igasonis.
Agasin komye.
Ole.
Yes.
Sige bendi kanisa Jumamos. Kwa moon through the lane. Gasoman through the lane. Tugul. Koboy kingo age. Gasoman Genesis. Kumwane komye kole tugul en betusiek lo betut nebo tisab noton kobut Jumamos Saturday. Ui komuktoindet en boisiet tugul chekiyoe. Kingoka komuny koberu betunoton. Yekakobirun betunoton ko betut nesoe kong'eten kasaraton anan kingokakeyai tuguk tugul koik betut nekisoe betutab tisab akoi nguni ko betunoton ko Jumamos anan Saturday en kutitab Kingereza.
Okay, kometestai anye swali agenge. Inimwa ile kimuny kamuktaindet en betutab lo. Ko kimuny ko kosubkei ak kemwaite ko kimuny kamuktaindet inendet wany tos ikere tos yame noto ile nin kingomuny kamuktaindet koyoche kimuny ak echek ana kimunye kamuktaindet inendet konyolu komi betunyon any nekimunye echek.
Kingokakomuny konyokotes kora ngewek ngunon kingimutu lagokab Israel komong'unen Misri kotokyingei Kanaan. Kikochi ng'atutik Musa en kitabutab Komong'u 20 koetab 8 akoi 11. Ko king'at kamuktaindet lagok biik tugul komunye betutab tisab kou lekikamung'da akine kingokakoyai tuguk tugul. So kiik betut betut nebo kamuktaindet inegen, kiik betut nebo biik tugul kou lekiyaak ine kingokakomuny.
So ko noto amune sikoyoche kimunye en Jumamos.
Noton amune sikimunye en betutab
Kekas komwoe Daktari Arap Soi akobo ole kibitunda chito. Ko tos iyonchindosi ak arorunenyin ana ikere kobetot komostanyin neyoche tos nyolu kewe konyo lain ana ikertoi ano arorunetab Daktari Arap Soi amun ele kaarorundoi akine ko kaaror en orenyin ne nisoman ot iman ak ibore iker ile kotot komi imanit uyan kole ako ni aroru akinye komi imanit komostang'ung.
Kongoi missing Arap Koech. Kang'et kang'olol Dr.Kibet konon koiman network kamakas tuguk tugul lakini chekakas tuten amang'alalen choto.
Yes.
Lang'alalda Kibet, Dr. Kibet kong'alalen akobo evolution.
Yes.
Ko evolution theory ana lekibitunda chito kotiengei ak scientist ko miten kora a lot of weakness. Yani miten tuguk chechang chemaansoreni chemawalugei ngeboisien evolution ana that genesis number sciences lekibitunda planet lekibitunda human beings ak other creatures. Ko ngeboisien number scientific ko chang tuguk chematinye solution ana matinye basis consequences. I'm also a student of history. I'm a student of biology. Now a teacher of physics. Like all those sciences, most of them good theories. Good theories, good don't keep proven. Other part of sciences, facts. Labet age practically to keep proving this thing. Noton ako noton nebet sikepon lakini champa ko makiproven chekitebi chito nguno like so mi theories cheterterchin chekiboisien biik kou nguno number the earth mi nebula cloud theory nebo passing star theory ko ikere choton theories chemengen ile wainon kisibi nin ana bongo amun kakwerge kabwata tul theory nenyinet.
Okay,
tuguk chetokyin age tugul.
Tokorateben Professor Murray the same question lakini nateben ni kwa niaba ya amuna nale kose takiteben Daktari Arap Soi. How different is the creation theory? How different is evolution theory nebo Arap Soi from the creation theory amun tugul ke somanis?
Does it go on a chance to respond a little bit?
Okay, go al Kiplanga tasikobit akon nafasi Dr. Arap Soi.
get different about creation theory ak oinon
ak evolution theory amun negit both of them ko theories anan arorunet
tofauti nebo creation theory ko creation theory is based on faith. So yanga inam ile itinye faith ile before ko kimi God. How this God created everything from nothing. Amuniga that creation theory ko let there be, let there be, let there be. Like in the creation about human beings co created from dust. Like in the evolution theory, they are come away what substance. So these are the substance. The gases. Where was gases? Where were gases before?
Okay. All right.
Now ngigoe nafasi Dr. Soi asikobit agochi nafasi Mureya gine. Dr. Soi.
Gero, Mr. Mutai, thank you so much. Let me come from where you started. Okay, you want to subject. The same scrutiny. You get it? Congolese scientists, we've evolved. It's a theory. It's like questionable. Kungile the creation was done in 7 days. The same analogy. It's the same thing, but for the evolution, it's been tested. What you're doing in a lega creation, story amai cheka nangutile okay kongile nye gitech mu job the creation was done in 7 days. Kimi te atageri gejobe who was the historian negisire tu ga joy mungu ngo negisiri betu no, because you want to make equate and science from the way lesson evolution. I don't think you've understood enough of evolution to a point where you can actually counter evolution with creation, because ngingalale say for instance coronavirus. In your world everything was created, so you imagine leje jingu no go create in coronavirus. Apana kali evolution, bacteria and viruses replicate. You have to understand DNA and RNA. DNA ko replicate ni. So that's why at kain koka manak a lady. It's a very small microscopic thing. And it replicates that DNA no gitu yo po yo akwany kung gitu yo ko that DNA replicates. Ko replicate ni in a way of an evolution. Evolve chito chita no guni. Lakini magui wege agingalale evolution as a thing. Evolution go kagamagin lapta kamaigas before. An hypothesis was pushed forward. Kagunchi hypothesis, kole, we have actually evolved. And people have gone in to test it over and over and over to a point where we arrived at a place negure evolution theory. Theory amune. Scientists do not say this is it. Sigigure theory, it means there is still opportunity of testing and finding more about it. Otherwise, kige testing. This is why you can go online, say, agicheng articles to support any evolution. You will never find an article to support any stories of the Bible. You will never find one. Angot nguno keng'olole ku in Jesu Kristo, there is no record that has been found. For instance, the only person close to saying there was a Jesus in Nazareth is some guy named Josephus. Josephus says there were 31 Yeshua ben Yosef. He is a person who actually grew up there. As a Romans gimut kwa Rome. Kigure Josephus kichoto gisirishe kusire history nebo Jewish. Kole 31 people chikigure Yeshua. But there is no record. So ngoti mache kengalale a point of ngeboishe evidence, you have nothing. Ngimache legigitaji in the universe was created in 7 days. Where's your proof? Kitabu na gikunin? Ako nga nagikunin kitabu nota. You get it? This is, I like this because conversation you go which can understand where we are. Amu kang kukunin kitabu kipleli, kunota na kay namata gilen kitabu na tilili. Ang yeso man duke mi kitabu na leli, kitabu na tilili, kumi parishit, mi subishit, tukya tukul ko ba in ko ba Jesu? Amen ko ba Mungu?
Okay, now Dr. Soi.
Yes.
Ingemwa kora kou in okay, apart from kokakimi day of worship, kokanyo discussion towards the creation, komiten proof chemwoe kole cheboru kole Bible kong'ololi truth apart from what creation theory, komiten tuguk cheu ngemwa ngunon kele kikikrosen kikikrosen nyanjet, kikrosen nyanjet, kemwa stories atindonik cheu Israeli kobortos ak ano, ngemwa emotinwek cheu ngele Romans, they exist. Isn't that proof that if the Bible can prove that such things kole ki-exist kou moingetab Noah, isn't that what other proof negere in? And like is ngemwa nguno ngele ki-evolve chito from species from Homo erectus, Homo habilis, chon tugul is chono, ko much ine iker kowek is kele ndochu ko ki kowekab species inotet, lakini ngemwa kou ngunon kele River Jordan komiten ine akoi nguni komi River Jordan. Is that giving light?
Kanamin keny soman kitabuni kanai keny ole mi because ole kakisirta kitabushek chu ko kasire chito kimugulmet. That is something ne mache i-understand an korok chito ile ngo ne kisire kitabushek chu. Kisire a human being. Igere? Ako so kasir human being ko kasirishe biik nguno kitabushek tisap, kikosir kitabushek tisap Professor Murray. If later on 2050 kumang aguitab Arap Murray ako sir kitabut kule kimi kitabushek tisapo chikisir agui nenyu. There's nothing wrong because it's a chain of history jikisiroti about what happened those days. Kelewane? So with yoto ku kisirishe bi kusire stories of who will be a Messiah. Ago kapun Giship Koech civilized in terms of economy around Mediterranean area. So ngi nyuru stories jibo kanamke or River Jordan kumamingala. Matande question, matande problem. We Bible go into history, which is true. It's when you say someone walked on water. You get it? Many problem. Kugelo River Jordan, Palestine, Israelites, no problem. But the moment you say someone walked on water, the moment you say Kito non big Moses and an Abraham, because that's what's called a miracle. And in this world we are in right now, there is no tested or shown one miracle. One miracle existed. You get it? So when you say all these areas to the power yet also you took in around that area, the Mediterranean area, no question. I agree. Those are places that we seem to see that there were movements in 2,000 years ago. We agree, because even if you look in the Roman history of how they conquered the Middle East to include Egypt, their history is on there. And guess what? Give Josephus, give Caesar Flavius, the emperors of Rome. You find their writing and you find their history. You find even their sculptures. Amazingly, some of these people existed before Jesus. But we find records of these emperors and rulers in that area. Pag makinyuru any record never Jesus. But I know like how the history was put together. Kanget pijuwe. Kango kako boybik. Kango kako birbik. Kokormi tumi jemi Egypt. Kulen kisoy ra. Kulen lalaki kisoy ISIS. Iwe master name Hebrew land kusoy Yahweh. Itokoste Germany kusoy ginigigure soul. Where you get the solar. Konge Romans ak picture ko boy biste ko le kyo ene sigitu ye bijo tukyo ko le ongebo kitabu che tukul into one book. And this is why I'm saying all these things were written by a human being, no question. Now, and I have no problem of the history of what happened around that time, war and all that stuff, no problem. Olaga bit shida ko geta wilejo someone walked on water. Alejin mta natembeaje kwa maji. Itaw konna mege agin agbijuga en jujok jugulen araragu ile ago atebenolin how about which how, because ne kage to a scientific world where everything needs to be tested mogita ke ngalge school ago mogi ngal na story no baje mosi to sa tabot nyungu no mago nyawa sang mumi je mosi onge tebege kweli, because all of these miracles jigin on oleng you ku kage ai to lagok jigi muwe miracles ki muwe nyugor nondit, and in truth there is no miracle that's been tested and proven. Kerega you got tebe ramutai or legend ramutai, okay, ara ge compare an evolution again at your belief system, and then guess what, kamwa kweli kaleja juga based on faith, and jita na go based on faith ko kago mama jasub reality and truth. Ma ko majo ko baishe testing ki jota mun ba inde faith ko ma ge ngonole normal life ka gebe another world of just belief. But to summarize your question, I believe there's some history that we can see in the Bible. I agree. But that doesn't mean that somebody flew, that somebody resurrected. That don't mean that.
Aya. Arap Koech.
I'm alone. Kago jinda Arap Koech.
Ami. Kago jinda Arap Koech.
Yeah, Simone. Yes, I can hear you.
Dr. Kibet Soi.
I was in very clear.
Kamu alai.
Wait.
Angan alai kagi name kumni kani mi scientific world ko achi proven everything. Magali ni nyama physicist. Ko and physics ko anything no gamachi na ngalalen theoretically kebe dilapit ko rabage practical. Ko ngalal evolution theory ko gama ko mi this hypothesis na ko chita. Ko hypothesis chita kibagi ko ay research pigala agasir pago pag yonjine something agata ora amuntom ke timan. Lakin nangalale no po the creation theory at the biblical belief lagi yon to yan Bible amun anya ne ole kitabu na tilil and the Bible is a holy book which was written by human beings like you and me, but inspired by God. Ngesoma kitabutab Timotheo nebo 3:16. No, in the Bible says refer. You can refer. So all scriptures were written by human beings, but inspired by God. So what we believe by faith. That faith will also translate to truth. Amun mi tugi che ngandan some have been fulfilled.
Yes.
Like prophecies.
Yes. Okay, testai. Ko mute ni microphone nebo Benjamin. So testai.
Sasa. So nanga mi times nguno keswen prophecies chiko sip komwa biik ko kikonyokosulda tugala. So those are proofs cheboru kele tuguk chekasip kesir en taa ko kinyokosulda en betusiek alak tuguchoton kenai kele God is not an ordinary book like yours. You are
No, one question before it. How do you prove that someone was inspired?
Yang kanyokosulda tuguk chekikasir ako konyokosulda ako mi tuguk alak chetesetai kosuldo kenai kele tuguchoton kobo manit.
No, gate pale. No, magele nyin kitabushek chu kokisirin human beings, but they were inspired. So I do not agree that these people were inspired.
How do you disagree when something he wrote is in fulfillment?
So got that professor is an only Robin tomorrow. Robin, then that means I'm a prophet. That means I was inspired by God.
Unless you are guessing, otherwise you are used by God.
No. No, get on. So that's where exactly my point. My point. Most of these things atindo ni kikichore Egyptians ak piki jegiage colonizer, and people at that time they were making just like me. People were making wild predictions. Nguno, if you cannot get a specific prediction, ne is extraordinary, then everything you're talking about here is any projection. Kitabu you were inspired by God. Now, knowledge in kabisa. What shows you that anything was inspired? Now, how is it different? What's the difference?
Tofauti ko ngot komasulda kit nekamwa chichoton kou lekamwaita. Ngot komwa kira karon ko maya kou noton. Akomwa kit kora karon ko maya kou noton. Akomwa kit kora karon ko maya kou noton. Then you disapprove that person.
At this point, we cannot have a sincere and an honest conversation because basing everything on inspiration, and you cannot show go an example that shows that these people were inspired. And what's the means of inspiring? What's the means? How do you get inspired?
A very good example ko Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel chapter 1. Have you read?
I read the Bible, man. Kaya sa man Bible, mo abote laki ko yung lakini.
So a good example ko na po Daniel chapter 1. Nagigit Nebuchadnezzar a creature nagimo ko gutos. Nigay gur nga motik ci wo ko professors ak alde ak pikal ak cha ñu ko wal ko ma interpret ko kit nekilenda kityo kime ko destroy Nebuchadnezzar bichoton tugul ak ng'omotik ak bonik biik alak tugul cheking'omen kekur Daniel inegen nekibo olimbo Ebranik konyokomuch kowol kabwatetab karwatetab Daniel karwatitetab Nebuchadnezzar. Kingowol karwatetab Nebuchadnezzar kwarorchi tuguchon tugul kong'eten metit akoi neunek akoi kubesoik akoi kelyek ak konyokosulda maoinotonoton akoi nguni. Kingen kele kisulda kit nekamwa Nebuchadnezzar nekaker Daniel lakini kaker akine Nebuchadnezzar laitoriat.
Okay, maybe to assist Mutai. Let me put it this way. Suko guya saidi in daktari suko nyo I mean suko ka straight. Daktari Arap Soi, being a believer of African way of life komait chumbek, we have our own maotiot Arab kilena Mugeni, sorry. Some of the things you prophesied and Mugeni go itunetab railway, itunetab chumbek, itunetab ndegeit. How we make any prophecies in early 80s, 18 kumagilis chumbegen in late 80s, so koita in 19 kinam ge constructed railway towards the end of it. Kogi prophesied in Mugeni some of the things. Ago giyak some of them. According to history, kochang bichiki magoyani karangalega Mugeni. Lakini kogi suldas. So that is the same argument negonu Mutai Arab langat kole miten natet nikiki prophesied en oliginye ako gisulda agine. So I think that is what exactly he means, unless kogawe taban in Kiplangat.
You of course your point is in agreement with what he said. I get it, but still, in a world nega kage basing our lives into prophecy, we go kage piche magitono ne ukweli. Mu ngutke mache ke ngalge ko mamingala nge ngalge ngutke mache ke le 1880s someone ko ngolole chito ndegeit kingen kele kiakuta I mean a railway kingen kele back in 1600 1700 ko kiakuta kotech timbek railways way back then. And then all of a sudden, we done a prophecy. Get in another continent. How is that a prophecy? Gunoi gergin negawe Arap Mutai. Kangalalwich agobo Nebuchadnezzar and all that stuff. And matebege chita netoi kimogul met kolei kitabu sheju angalale ko gigisirawiya. Gigi publish niyawiya. Guno Gerchito nekakikochi tindiot ko believe in a tindiot not ko believe in gole is the word of God ako utie. For instance, an example. Ndatebe nguno Arap Mutai ni aleji ki koitale larap somewhere and 1902 ko gigaruan on Friday. Gigaruan on Sunday, May 2nd, 1902 gigaruan koitale. You will never, of course, he will never know, and I will never know. Pangut ko nyujita ko said stories ako lo betu nigile gihaini. This is a word of mouth, stories after stories. How do you run around and believe that is a true story? Mata megangwebelo Jomo Kenyatta, our first president, 1975. Mwezi wa tano tarehe 2 kimnyono Jomo alilala na nani? Alikula nini? Even your own leader of your own country to know what he was doing. Why do you want to agree and believe stories? Story after story after story. Finally, evolve into a point where we can write. We write stories. You have to understand. Okay, if we're gonna lean on, okay, this is what happened. This is true. Where is true. When those days, stories, quote it after quote it. And ang gusaye Arap Koech. Guto legin ako nin award. Asibi mo jara Mutai, asib ko mo Professor Murray. By the time we tell Professor Murray, it's got a totally different meaning. So what we're looking here is fundamental misunderstanding of the Bible. And what has happened is plan big job faith. In other words, what is said in there is true and is the word of God. The word of God. Even Old Testament, you have a problem. You have a problem. Nguti isomani Exodus 21. Nugunu instructions on how to enslave a slave. Instruction on how to instructions on how to ginyuru lagwangyo. Imuj ibarar old men and women and keep the virgins. And you saying that's the word of God? I mean, a supreme being that who created the earth and heavens is not an orders on how to kill, wiping out the entire nation, not letting women lead, and you believe all this is kitabu netilile? This was instruction on how the conquered conquered Romans. When Romans went and conquered all these areas, they gave instructions on how you're going to deal with those slaves. Finally, later on, unite all these areas for political and social control. How I can help you.
Dr. Soi, do you worship?
Worship
Are you
what?
a worshiper?
Because gate about worship what? Because imagine Islam, right? You have a problem with the problem of Islam. Islam, you do not agree. Mugoshi news go big up 7 day, big up Sunday. Kalijin, look, kagoit betu takene lelni. Ne yo chege ngalal guni, kararan ngalalet kuni, asegelewan ge. Ang genane, ale biblia na ulen kitabune tilil. Kukisire ki mugul met. Agi biki gisire kitabu si yoto. And one never seen, one never known. There is no record, not even a bone of any writer. So, asango, ni abudu nani? Kama ni kuabudu, kaiga wegi in kapurus.
Okay, even the sun.
Kisa yitukul the sun.
So
Everybody.
Do you worship the sun?
Now that I know what the sun is, why should I worship the sun? King and Gelas is the mad. This is hydrogen, helium. Imagine asa mat al yoji mat. Kiro, kaso, Arap Koech. I am a liberated man. Liberated in terms of my mind. I am a man who I call myself a supreme. Because metit not in the kokergang metit no in the abayshi metit. Abayshi my brain. I don't need to worship something else. At least my worship is something nigiguna chitake. Kelewane, my problem in you, ku kita setage soy, tuku kiki konech, amagitebe gele, okay, gibuno no tukchu. Guno gero, maoni, the way Mr. Mutai is explaining to us, ingen kita line by line, kitabu nagigi gochin. And the wate baramuta ligi publish in the kitabu, not the first time how you. When was the first time that Bible was published? Siku ilen, this is word of God. Kotom koit chumbek kikisoene. Sinisub kini kokonin chumbek. Metebe kele kikipublishen kitabuni huyo. So to answer your question, I'm a liberated man. Ma don't mo soe mo nome kitabu naka nyurchi chafu ak tambi ak tenke kwoge ak all sorts of evil things you can think. Big yengu no America nigimi ku big kimi you ku ki treating slaves. Kikipa big as slaves, and there were slaves here, and those people were reading the same book. Chikipo no colonize in Africa, they was reading the same book. Lakini chita netu ikatemene nileje okay, ngaro ole ibuno kitabuni, which is what I've done. Kiachunguza na ole ibuno no kitabuni. Anale kagisire mogorek chekimache koboy emotunwek choto tugul. If you want to go further, again, okay, investigate ka questioning Arap Mutai evolution, alleji okay, mamingala. But share the same questioning on your belief system. And if we apply that 100%, you will realize Guno shit and in Africa, you really think Majisugo New in Jason go Sarweje? Kabisa? Betu takene lilni. We have to ask ourselves ketebegeli kingo like ako huyo. Ngotinde shinda kama mko na shida Gale Nigeria does believe in the existence of Satan. I don't believe in the existence of Satan. Because Satan again is something you don't know. You've never met what's Satan? Satan gone? How do you show me? Show me what is Satan? I believe in it tomorrow.
Okay, now online with the questions. I get a comment Chicago unfortunately go my much konyo Professor Murray. I think got no problem kidogo with power. But kita setang ngonyor chechoret kosawa mi bichuka sir gole kola Arab langat. Saturday is the Sabbath day of the Lord. It is written en kitabu tab Joanna. Kurgata manak sogol koitet susamaga genge. We all know that Jesus died on Friday, and that verse clearly states Sabbath was about to begin. Okay, michitane kole Kenny, the same Kenny Kibet kole interesting discussion there. Kole chitane guren Yegon Kipkoech. Sabbath day is Saturday. Hizo zingine ni fake. Okay. John
No. Hizo zingine ni fake. No, everything is fake.
Okay, now ulongi konye chito nechutu discussion so kokon maoni nenyinet. So tos iyani akobo sobet after death kokakeme?
That question about the Satan, magalenye mongen, same case. I don't know if we go back in Egypt, they removed the mummies and the bones of the pharaohs of Pharaoh who were killed or who died and were buried almost 5,000-6,000 years ago. They're still there. So Mutayaga Gosirta Arap Soi. You're gonna find me right where you some other place to go? Kumongen, you tell me. I know.
So I believe in ile mi sabet age yekakokeske sabon niketinye nguni?
Nope. I believe this is it. Which is why enjoy the time that you have in this planet. Ngateben Arap Koech ngetebe ke kuni. Ingen uligimi before you were born?
Of course, kiamiten is kotomo kemanachan ko kimomi.
So do you know anything about before you were born?
Unless through history, then
wewe mwenyewe kimye no makisichin.
of course kitom kemanachan.
There you go. So you do not know who you were before you were born, and you will not know who you are after you die. You don't know. Again, kamwa knowledge ni kage ngalge enough where tuguk cheki atindonik chekikonech ko makitebege. Bi kipsengwet kiwo chichoto kipsengwet akawek ale chuache kipsengwet kono. We have telescope now, we can see the cosmos. We can see the universe. And we can see far out. Beyond that, we cannot see. And if you can see beyond that, I know where are you going? I know.
Katun gebeli na Arap Soi.
See, that's see Giro. Ngile katun gebeli ne ko uoka ile tumekelewa. Igere ngomacho ko baun chita ke kwerin metet yu ibi nyogoritu. So now, most of our people kutabati kulen he ngot kumayan Jesu au kebela. Where? If kebela nano? Where?
Mi mana mi kena Arap Soi.
Huh?
Mi mat nebo kena ne kebelen kiblelu.
I know. Where?
Tablet.
Where? See, I'm having fun. Kirare to si lakini kama je ke real agete beke in truth ke le ngale jota jo ko gi muenin ana gi mueno ana gi muege ko really ka ko chuji gi balago ki ngole ke as kids. Amu megen ko ngalen chi ko di tabot ilep ke belen amengen ji jota ilep ke belen ano. Where?
Okay, Dr. Soi, miten bik cheki kesochi ako sapcho.
Mami, don't show me one. Barwa genge. One. Kakalejin mommy miracles. Show me one.
Mi bik kokot chekingen en kokwet kele kimyoni so and so ko kiamene ako kingesochi konyor kosobet. And they exist.
Kakamwaun at kay knowledge we need to be scientific. Ngonamin cancer, mi bik ngonam cancer ko bari. Cancer can go into remission. Yani kamin cancer sometimes cancer can come to a point it stops attacking your body. So right now, labaturgana and go pray for those kids who are hungry. If we're going to believe that our prayers really are being answered, the ones who are dying in hunger, every day. What's going on there? You mean to tell me in a better belief than when you say show me where there's a connection. They show me the connection. Completely. Because you have to show me that the prayer worked and the medicine didn't work. You understand? Because once again, megan ko ngalen big up kuleji no gisoji ni gisoun bi wendote. Why who? I'm going been in. There's nobody, not one nagigomang agule oki niliombe mpaka nikatembea. So which is why I'm saying time of fooling each other, it's over. We need to stop fooling each other. In Africa, if you don't put on your shoes and go outside and walk, again, I'm creating creameries or places of processing our produce. You can pray all you want, which means you want to just continue fooling yourself. On one hand, you don't want to, you want the government to hire all your youth. And then on this end, you see about man as people. So we have to let go of that and come in because that's what changes the world. That's what changes our economy. That's what changes us.
So, Daktari, should we stop worshiping? Matutake kanisa? Matutake kibur kityo? Is that what you mean?
It's like you're asking me. Well, let me put it this way. Ngotko ingle mibi nguno je chorik. Mibi ke wako na roho mbaya who can be killers. If by going to church they feel that they have a community that way they cannot steal, kwa hiyo kutakuwa jota kanisa. Lakini chita ne ingen ile Senyor rabinik cheba chakula tomorrow I have to go work. Chita ne ingen ile suko soman lagok chuk I have to do business here and there. Go do that. Chita ne ingen ile suko sit lagok chuk classrooms chitindo computers chitindo kitabushek sige nyoru libraries sige nyoru science centers sige nyoru better hospitals. If you know that if we need better hospitals and better roads, we have to come together and work hard. If you know that, that's what you need to do. Gimaji tabi isa. Kateben ngityo le sa nate ibarwa kelkinet niginyorung sa nate. Barwa genge. One benefit. Ne exclusive. Ne exclusive ne ibarugole saete kunyunu kelkinet ne specific ne anyuru only through prayers. Show me one. Kaya miracle sa jugain. Show me one miracle. Nigi nyurung saet. Show me one. Oh, as far as we know, ko jang bikigi ko meya ko soy. Uliami uli emeni ko gibare slaves night and day. Slaves were being killed. Ako soy bijot. Kago ni example about Lord water kanoko. Kids are dying because of they're hungry. Mothers are perishing, dying, kneeling down, praying. So imagine later you're a special kind of believer that you don't have a problem. You special in so that ngesa inyurugilkin kumanyuru ni who's dying hungry. The ones who are dying of corona today. Picture corona sa masoy bijada. So milingale matisa ngimaji isa. But understand that isa egine gigikonin. Ako gigikonin kimugul met chita nigisreji tage. Kitabu jo iso mani ko gisrebik. Kimoko there's no show of proof that this book was given by God. The last thing I know, Gigi printed in 1550. Germans were the first one to publish the Bible. 1550, 500 or 600 years ago. 600 years ago. You cannot even ask yourself that. And you really think that will change? Majuko change in maisha nung kitabu nugu na yini. Gerga kwa Islamu. There was a time here, Arap Koech. There was a time ne ki sirishe bi ki sire stories of what was going on. Kamu awun ngagechi sutamana ko ka speak yo. Chine tu ngo ka sauti ni. Give me a time ne ki sirishe. Konge Romans after conquering all these areas kung gimoji bao jito. Inome their stories and their culture and their rituals and combine into one thing. That combination was done in 325 AD in the Council of Nicaea. 325 CE, Common Era, or AD, Ado Domini. 325 AD, kule Romans ungituyege after kako change their emperor to become a movement of messianic movement at that time. Ngituyege bichu ke nam all these writings into one book. And you get into one book, then you go and sell it to all these people that when you go to them agile yorone kitabo ne baji jago jamo sa yoroni. Kongora chitaman kule Yeshua. Oh, this is it. Kosoman aramuta Nebuchadnezzar ana koma namgia Israelites ago atebenyo kule ungi haki bunuin Egypt. Oh, it's us. Get that kitabot. Negigisire for political and social control. You're on mute. Arap Koech, you're on mute. You need the mute.
Okay, sorry. Karang bet kiplangat at some point ago kayo ba ito among gagoy. Magere Professor Murray kumangan ale aleng ko shida ne gotindo. Now kiplangat igere ko tos nyalu kya ina ngunyan. Now that ko mwoe kaya ne ngung kole nyalu kesoe Chumamos ketindoi chito enu nemayani in any of them. Machumambili, Machumamos. So kiliana na nguni.
Yani ne.
Mayani.
I can answer that.
Okay, Daktari Arap so iyani ne. Amu meyani setania, meyani Jesu, ako meyani asista kora.
Ayani ginegure reality and truth. In terms of Ayani Arap Mutai, Ayani Arap Koech, let's work together as human beings.
Okay, si ameten Daktari Soi. Mi chita nikatep swali yeni wale. Ila batini yani yangenyoru shida.
Alabatini Arap Koech, alabatini Arap Mutai, alabatini chichoto ko sire kitabut. That's why gere gegura Arambe. That's why I went to sibitali ko kamyan. That's why I went to school to read, to know better. That's why I went to serikali or ini serikali toretoni. Again, kawe gane to reality and truth. Agonge no nale ngonamge mugul met ayeng somogi kwae go mugak.
Okay. Mutai kiplangat koge walu swali. So kiliana na nguni now that miten biik cheu Arap Soi nale mi biik chetindo kayanet ne agenge ak nebo Arap Soi ako mi kora biik chetindo kayanet neu nengung nemwoe kole nyolu keyotishe Chumamos ako mi cheu Dr. Professor Murray ngana mi kobotech cheyoni kole nyolu kebendi kanisa Jumapili keyote. Mi kora biik chebo kasta amu Waislamu. So kakiliana nguni Kiplangat.
Okay. Kongoi missing Arap Koech. Kakas mangalalet ko Dr. Ko is almost becoming a scientist. Yang tu kemo proven ka jaribu na ko disapproven Bible. Kopate ma proven the scientific part of it. Kaka namen on the Bible sige yan kitabu Biblia gele kitabu natil ko by faith, number 1. Number 2 ko lege banganda kitabu sik kitabu and Bible ako tingandan kimagemi kingesir ko chang tuk chenamege chikere ma contradicten Ngunon inyeker maulatet nebo mautiot Isaiah eng kitabutab chapter 53 koitab somok ak kesoman tugul. Ko kimautoni akobo siketab Messiah nekinyokosulda man kou lekikamautindo kenyisiek 700 years down the line. So nekamoche amwochi Dr. Soi kostoek tugul chekasech alenji kitabuni kikuren Biblia koma kitabut like any ordinary books. Makirkei kitabushek chon sire biik alak binadamu. Makirkei ak scientific. Nguno kaker argument nebo nani kingemite university kingeyoe philosophy of education ak keyoe kora psychology. Philosophy ni sana sana. Komi barak kitabushek kyik. Ko kitinye kabwatet neu noton kolelen there is nothing like God in the first place. Kimokoite. Lakini finally kingonekit kome inendet koyan akine kole in as much as kika disagree as tuguk chik tugul chekikasir ak argument nekitinye nemakerkei ak nombo Dr. Kibet, there is somebody behind it. Ko recognize kole there is a God. There is God. Ko eneche nguni faith ine kenai kele betut neyoche kimuny ko betutab tisab. Ne nginyoke finalize nginyokisib komie kobutyin Saturday. Angandan in the beginning kekas kele kole king'olole kityo let there be. So mi tuguk alak che beyond human beings. Angen ale ndolonga ka accountant landa kesir kitabut ne business scientific Dr. Kibet is an accountant. And physics komi tuguk kebore metaphysics. Chebendi ko explain some nemoko explain nekiche go beyond them. Kinanete log pesho out wanafunzi when I was a student. Kelele lightning comes as a result of two churches and the same churches chika come in contact with that lightning. Goteba a student in our class ingeni lets mongen kot kongen Dr. Kibet lightning konyo lightning akopchei kiwotet kikoyak en olinyon lightning konyo kopchei kiwotet so komwa ale kiko choton metaphysics ko metaphysics ko physics che beyond human beings yani it is controlled by supernatural being. Not supernatural being from scientific view. Sorry. Because on that's metaphysics. That supernatural being no more explain in the scientific part of it. Go in that faith. So there are some things we cannot prove. Arap like for example long and ngele kunon kiyai ngweny akibesho le beek akibesho le yamat maunoto nye kibesho kemout akibesho ana kobit asista sikobesho kemout ana ko kilop keet beek arawet akine sobunji kemo so tuguk chon tugul ko there was no substance even when you go to scientific point of view there is no substance created from nothing by the scientist who purport to be explaining the origin of anything where they exist. There is nothing they can prove as scientists. I'm a scientist. I teach physics. I know a lot of science, especially the geography part of it. The evolution. You learn these human beings were some things late before becoming human beings. Then that thing was, where was it before? And where was that thing before? Like me, explain my Dr. Kibet it was a bacteria, or there was some bacterial what some of the things. So you can go on and asking, where was the bacteria? And then if there was something to cause that bacteria, then where was that thing? So it will go to an endless argument. And therefore, there are creation theory argument some of these things from nothing. Whether we agree, like from their point of evolution, then they are arguing that there was something, then that something became something. Then so you they will reach a dead end. Mommy, they cannot go beyond that.
Mutai, I have a
End
question
argument.
for you.
So scientists the end. We are talking of the reality. Yes, I agree. We can go to the lab in some items and we prove it. When you want to connect a current, you can prove that this and this and this. When you connect, light becomes and become light. But me and they can never explain. They will never, and
Like
they
what?
will never ever explain the origin of some other things.
Like what?
Sasa, Arap Koech.
Okay.
Am I on mute?
You are not on mute, Doctor. So kara akasin komye Kiplangat. Akasin komye. Akasa ale tindo swali Dr. Kibet Arap Soi. Arap Langat akasin komye kabisa. Ikason Soi ana.
Yes. Nakusikia mzuri na wasikia both.
Okay. Alin wine tinye shida ne in Kiplangat. Anibucha akasin edat.
Now, I think Mr. Mutai needs to, he's a physicist and a chemist, and I think he needs to spend time understanding abiogenesis. At this point, to go is not fruitful. Get discussed and understand abiogenesis, and if I really recommend. He spent time on abiogenesis. Aki age tugul na kasi in Sauti ni. Amaje ko somanchi ginigure abiogenesis.
Arap Koech.
Kan garo kanya
yes. Okay, testa. Mut Kiplangati kasi komye? Okay, testa daktari wala ndugul sige ko nafasi in Kiplangat.
Okay, so one thing is Aramuta has been jumping all over. When you to a point is suggesting creation, the creation is a theory. Creation is not a theory. Creation has not been tested. Kelewano. Si kange tara Mutai ko
sorry, Dr. Kibet. Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Kibet. Creation, because on.
Kasi lagi ni kau meja correctan ini.
Find something to see the style.
Okay.
The creation, Saguren theory, and Adam theory man. I agree with you. When we were in school, we were told there are three theories. There is creation theory and there is evolution theory. Like I agree with you. The creation will not qualify to be a theory from the biblical, but it is the scholars which is making it to be a theory. They call it a creation theory. So it is not my
I hear you, and I appreciate that. Kamoy objection, and you at the mention of creation as a theory is it has not been subjected to testing. Is what I was saying. Neboing, as far as code, I took some notes here. You do not know, and I do not know the origin of anything as far as beyond the Big Bang. So Ngilejo in that I'm disproving God. I don't disprove. Mongin, where if you tell me that that God created all these, then I have to ask you, show me about what? And that's not the discussion here. This is an ego. Let's go mute it.
Okay. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, there was a really bad ego. But what I'm saying, go evolution, go something niki get tested. And hypothesis been tested left and right. Now, kama to know earlier, there's so many things that haven't been proven. I was like, what? Like what? If you question bacteria, the biogenesis area, we're not calling biogenesis, and then we'll meet again and talk about that. Otherwise, a waste of time. I'm not teaching a biogenesis. I was coming to show you where this came from, where we all came from. Kung gusto may spend time we spend time disproving kinito may soman. So now when you say there's so many things that haven't been proven, I would like show me one. Nenota.
Okay. Now, Daktari ak kiplagat Arap Mutai agere ko nekit ko kakoam gate musha nebo tetutiet, but I'm very much impressed in the argument. I'm learning a lot of things che kitoma anai akane. Ako karanai kora ale in both evolution or creation theories ko mami netot kotonon komwa ne kole in the beginning kotomo koit ne ko kimi ne amun ot ngele en taunet ko kimiten ng'olyot. Kwani any kotom kobit ng'olyot ko kimiten ne kiyoe ne ng'olyot, kikreateni ng'olyot. The same thing kangomwa Arap Daktari Soi kole according to the Big Bang theory komwoe kole ole mwoitoi kitabung'ung achame abesenin amun kiisire inyendet. Before the Big Bang theory ko ki-existen, there is something which ki-existen. That is over about some billion years, or what
13
years
billion
ago.
years is when the Big Bang happened.
Yes. So how about before the Big Bang happened?
And my answer to you is you do not know, I do not know, nobody knows. And Gero, give go ti niwe. Gelo go jor Arap Koech some money. You have to prove that Arap Koech was there. If it's the mere fact that go meet this house and then the money is stolen, is that enough, Iwejela?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot bring in an idea that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This is who created the universe. You don't know and I don't know. But my objection, I don't go beyond questioning whether there's God or not. That's upon the people who say it's God to prove that. My problem, where I'm confessing here, Bible all the stories that led to the Bible is out there. It's just like a story. I have verified it. I've verified that the stories that we are leaning on, you're talking Moses, Abraham, all these stories, these were stories stolen from other people. That's all I'm talking about here. Whether there's God or not, that's a different story.
Okay. So ketare Dr. Soi. Even if now according to you igere ko because of what happened in the past as in theory John. Aren't you grateful for whatever happened that you are now existing? Aren't you grateful to whichever circumstance leading to your existence? Which brings now to the aspect of worship. May grateful in any way?
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful I'm a very lucky person and you are a lucky person. A sperm has billions or millions of particles there that you, Arap Koech, you are the luckiest of those billions within the sperm. So I count myself a lucky man. So I'm a grateful man. And everything that has happened before, I'm happy and thankful for the people who helped me, who supported me. Those days when I was sick, I'm happy for the doctors who treated me. So I'm a grateful man. I just will not go and give glory to Kinegi Wono Chitage. That's all. I'm just
Now,
saying me to manufacture. And what our problem is kutomage krilen can understand and gelagi manufacture to you. That's it. But as far as being grateful, I'm very thankful. Very grateful. Not to what I was given. I'm
you are
grateful to
grateful.
you. I'm grateful to the teacher. I'm grateful to Mr. Mutai with teaching us. All the teachers, those are the people I'm grateful for.
How about for you existing? Koi Dr. Soi. Aren't you grateful he exists any?
I'm grateful to my mother and my father. Those are the ones who brought me here and cared for me here. I know where you want me to go. See, so I'm grateful to Allah. What do you say? What would you think? I'm not grateful to God, but I'm grateful to Allah.
But
What would you think?
of course, there is something you are grateful. There is a being you are grateful to him or her.
So until
Now,
I say either God or Allah, then I'm grateful. Otherwise, me being grateful to everyone else is not enough.
but it is good that while you are grateful to Babangung Agamengung for bringing you in your
100%. To where I am. Amugi Kiribech village. Kiribech in Sigiking village. All the parents around the village. I'm grateful to those people.
Imwagora en oret age ilelen ndama nige ki disapprove ile mosabe assista. You would rather opt to be grateful to the sun because originally Africans kogi worship en their ancestor.
No, see the reason Gaga mentioned in science at that time it's true. If the sun doesn't show up today, it's the end of this planet. If the sun from the east, we're done. Which is why Kibik Yogi assist Amugigin Gelungo assist. Those Moek. Kubi Mboga, everything is there and we come back alive again. Which is why when they talk about the darkness, those days darkness, or mami all this, good darkness was when the animals would come out. So this is why the darkness was being seen as evil. And the light assists. Ongetach assists. That's what we were doing. But now we know that acid is just a burning gas called helium. And I cannot worship an helium.
Okay, kung missing Arap Soi ko alelen mara ko wegen oret kiplangat Arap Mutai allen mara ko kunyor shida akne. Bara bye good missing en okwe kamun konyoru nafas neu nisikobit kengalalen ak kikuyechike tuguk chechang. Angen ale maswali chu kotebenin ak points chon ireiseni ko chang biik chekose akichek toreisen. Chang biik chetinye maswali chekose takiteb ko kityo mara kotom konyor the right avenue and a platform neteben kongo amun kebitu okabit Kiplangat Arap Mutai akine siko playing the role on behalf of biik alak sikokuyechi biik alak konai missing akobo eleu ngalek Ko kotakose takimi koboto Professor Murray, lakini amang'u ale next time kemiten koboto inendet asikobit kotakisipten akere kakwo missing sait ako kakeib kasarta nenekit kokakoyamgei en betutab raini. So ko kongoi missing ako kitochin kora next time angen ale chang tuguk cheyoche iororu kot missing che contradicteni ak kayanosiekab biik chechang che koyoche imiten ako yekimokyingei anytime amwaun kou netam kemwoe kila en kila. Ko kongoi missing amun keyan kora inyon this platform sikobit keng'alal kibagenge. Angen ale imuch kokerech Kiplang'at Mutai ak biik alak ot Professor Murai en komosin ingo komabwa studio ko kongoi missing en icheket akichek amun kawileni kemiten show oka in one way or another koka participaten. Fans kora chekaker tetutiet en wherever lekakeren akere chito nekibore Ian Drop amang'u ale kaitu nguni ana kami mara katakosise en taban yon sikokere ko kongoi missing. Now kit nebo komonut en echek tugul ko kenai kele kitokchinigei ano. Miten argument nebo Dr. Kibet ireu, miten argument nebo akot Kiplang'at, mi argument nebo Professor Murray. Ko kit nebo komonut ko kitokchinigei ano. At the end of it ko ne kit nebo komonut, kikeineni ne en sobenyon amun lazima kesob komie ak kibur komie ak biik chekimiten tugul kibagenge yon kimiten en ng'wony. Ko akoi kasarta age ko kongoi missing, amache imwa kongoi Dr. Kibet kwa niaba yako ak kwa niaba nebo okot Kiplang'at ak kina Professor Murray che mami tugul kobotech en nguni siketore tetutiet.
Okay, kongoi missing Arap Koech, and again, I'm just another brother. I'm your Arungwang. I'm a brother of Jitap Kutit, Abakutit. Migini ko langane tukyu angalole ko kitabu ni kiasere ko is called Immoral Knowledge, a message to the African grassroots. Ko kiasere kitabu ni trying to reach out to our people, alechi bik yoge konamge ak tetutioni ngenamge eunek ak keeku biik cheng'omen. Mat koekisubi tuguk chekikonech everyday kong'olech nguno bwone Chinese moche mutai ong'alal kutitab Chinese anan moche mutai oro emet age nguno kikere ole ami sai melen abaibai eng yomi kimi tell him to mute it.
Testai koro chabu.
Kamwa ale kimi emoni kimi achek kemi ku in magere bichu akonyit ako kingen kele emet nyo lekibunu ko emet nebo with so much resources. Tukyu kang'alale ak kitabut ne kiasere ko kiatyem ale ongenetkei onge-communicaten because some things chemakingen ko amu kitindoi biikab kutit kine kilen kituptupi anan magimwau in a kakando sifungue. So conversation like this created is so that someone nguno cheke nguno kokere kole akiwek shetani Arap Soi. Kiwek shetani Arap Soi. So mami problem. Mi murenik chekitun koba timin kekure mau komangu tindoi dreadlocks. Choto chekikiywei ipkole chumbek dread iwei cheloji dreadlocks. Kokerge akane nguno ngong'ololi kuni komi chito age netoboti kole kikosub mashetani Arap Soi. Igere? Lakini akoi iebit ak ikero ak ng'alal kuno ng'alal ak Arap Mutai si understand anile anga bornyo chicho. Anga tupchenyu chicho. Anga mite another knowledge nemi masiyu. Amwa kole you will never learn everything in your life. So kini ka share ni ko share ni tukun che kiasoman aga finding out that actually this is what has happened. So I'm reporting back to you, Big Jog Jabaga. Ago in this reporting time, umugo nyo jite no Mutai ago disagree. But through time and conversations like this, one day, that conversation Arap Koech, Arap Soi, Arap Mutai was the right conversation. And we learned something out of it. So Kamaja Mon Kongoi for setting up this platform so that we can come in and talk, so we can share what we know Of course, I'm very extraordinary in terms of my reasoning. What are my views here? Lakini I'm just a normal person. Mosoy mashetani, mosoy anything. I'm just a normal, simple person. Pagamoy alugunggoy.
Karibu sana. Now, Arap Mutai kukebet laini koni chutu ko kakimwae kongoi en elekakoit betut amun kibendi kibwangunoti, so akonin akinye opportunity imwa ng'oliotab kongoi ak imwochi ng'olion agenge biikab Kalenjin kosubkei ak tetutietab raini. Karibu. Okay, mutenot microphone ng'ung'et, kemuten inyendet Arap Langat. Arap Langat, unmute. Yes. Ng'alala kakekasin.
Ikason?
Yes.
Ikason? Arap Koech?
Yes, kikosin komie, testai. Kikosin komie, testai.
Arap Koech? Arap Koech, ikason?
Testai.
Ikason?
Mutai Kiplangat, kikosin komie, testai. Kikosin komie.
Kongoi. Aya. Koi nai boroin na ay kukakan amun akasi. Aya, kongoi missing. Arap Koech. En nabas ne kakenyoru echek kakeng'alalen echek tugul en tetutiet neu ni, abwote ale kaneta ako kakeng'alal iman komie. Kongoi missing amun ketachan achut tetutiet niton sikobit keng'alal. Angen ale biik chekose kokakas akine akane ng'olion age tugul en lemi. Ng'alek cheu chu iman keng'alalen ng'olion nebo betut nenyolu kesa. Kanamen ale kosubkei ak Biblia ko kikiyai iman tuguk tugul komuktoindet en betusiek 6, betutab 7 komuny. Ko kamwa ale komung'et nekimunye akichek binadamu ko amun kabwatetab komung'et nekikamuny akine komuktoindet. Angen ale kakonai biik akichek amune sikimunye betutab 7. Angen ale making'alalen soiti kemwa kele amun kayoche kispesifaen ine kesoman ot en sirutik, lakini makisikyi nafas betut age nekechop akitakemwa akinyekesoman en sirutik akichek sikenai kele betut nenyolu kesoi ko ainon. Lakini amuche amwochi biik sirutik 2-3 ichomwon nafas.
Yes, testai.
Ndami chi nemoe kosoman kokuyo komie ko isomoni kitabutab Taunet kurgat 2 koitab 3 ak iwe ng'ong komong'u 20 koitab 8 akoi 11. Iwe kora kitabut age sinai ile betutab 7 ko ainon en Good News Bible isomoni kitabutab Mathayo 28 koitab 1. Inoe ile ko betutab nenyolu kesoi ko betutab 7. Ako kiyonchi ng'alechon tugul nekakamwa ale niker kit nekisir ngunon chito nekikuren Musa amun kisir kitabusiek the first 5 books ko koyonchinos ngebwa akot akoi chito nekisir boisionik konyokoyonchinos ak chito nekisir kitabutab ng'ong'utiet ma-contradicteni. Nganda komi ng'alek inei che mara kang'alal Dr.Kibet kole king'ololen akobo lekibenditoo boriet. Some of the books kekuren prophetic books, some of the books kekuren historical books. So chong'ololen history chebo atebetab lagokab Israel mara ak Palestina amun kibendote tugul ko amun kor komiten kimi boriosiek. Ngeweke kora ko kimi iman boriosiek en lagokab Israel ak Palestine ak Palestine en kasarta nekoi ko noton amune nan inyoru iman boriosiek. lakini manetech ngele keyai borioshek tuguchoto tugul. So betut age kora tanyo clarify kitakemwa saiti sana yakakipanga in advance amu kaker ka shida notinye ko mara nebo network mara sait age kobek mat lo komi konekere komi on and off so mane kon makingalal komie tugul continuously. Betut age ngololwech in advance sabanganak kechop simami kit nerorto kemi tugul throughout for the first time mo takinye Arap Koech kotomo kengalale twan kaneta kengalale kongoi mising amu kakengalal langonoto ketestai kengalale Arap Soi amuno lamba USA abwate ale tebie komie ndesiche nafas en lo kimuche kebwan anan kekele karan ka kome itaat kora kinyo ketestai nilip ka akitaki so asante sana.
Okay, thank you very much.
Arap Koech.
Kongoi missing. Kit nebo kamanut ko at the end of the day ko ki brothers and sisters. Kibo kutit tugul, kingololi tugul kutitab chego ako kiityindosi. Notok kit nebo kamanut kot missing. So ko kamwa en tai ale kimi reyu asikobit kengalal kwa niaba ya biik chechang chemi outside ireyuno. Chamang'u ale ot akichek kokase takingalalen koik kityo tom konyor platform neunoni. So kasarta kachobwok nafas especially Mutai ak Professor Murray ak biik alak chuno kora ko amuche achobwok your own specific day asikobit ke discussen akobo amu nekit oyonchindosi ole nyolu kimunye keote Jehovah en a specific day. Ko nyolu koichobwok betung'wong so omwa ole amune siko moyoche ko Jumamos, yoche ko nemoyoche ko Sunday, yoche ko Jumamos anan moyoche ko Jumamos, yoche ko Sunday. Ko en betut nenin akonok nafas akokwek. Kwani buch en ng'alekab sobetab kila ko kabaibaitu kora en Mutai amun itinye a lot of information ne lazima kora tobwan back koboto Dr. Kibet Arap Soi ak kipng'omotinik alak chebo kalenjin chemi utugul lemi sikobit kelitke. Kakile lite karna sikobit kelitke kenai ak exploren tuguk chechang chetomo kenai chemiten en emet. Kwani buch akoi yon amwae kongoi en chitugul nekakokerech en Facebook, en YouTube, mi biik chekasir comments, komi ale tesetai discussion from nguni amun akere ale mi biik cheitu tetutiet. Ko akoi kasarta age aweche kongoi missing ak alelen saisere siketuyen. Saisere.
Bye.